Sounds good. Thank you, Darlene, for welcoming us. And hello, everybody. Thank you for being here this morning. Before we started the meeting, we just commented on how beautiful the weather is. It's just gorgeous outside. So we appreciate that you are here with us when you could be outside, but be sure to get outside later today. So as Darlene introduced, my name is Meg Stickl, and I see there's many of you who have been a lot of familiar faces, a lot of familiar names, so really good to see you all again. Now, this is going to be a bit of a different session, and I'm so excited that you're here because this is going to be a wonderfully informative session. I'm here with my good friend Jazz, and I'm going to introduce her. But Jazz and I have known each other, goodness, I think pretty early on in my business career. We connected, I think it was through a networking event, many networking events, and we've crossed paths many times over the past 8 years. So I'm going to do an introduction for Jazz, and I'm excited for you guys to be able to get to know her and for her to share her knowledge on meditation and mindfulness with you today. So Jazz is a well-recognized teacher in the Ottawa and surrounding areas, known for her passion, unique approach, and inspirational teaching style that embodies physical, spiritual, and mental strength. With over 18 years of experience, she makes yoga and meditation accessible for everyone. Whether you're looking to move from chaos to calm, improve mobility and flexibility, increase your mental resiliency, or simply wanting to live pain-free, there's something for you here. Jazz takes a holistic approach to meditation and mindfulness and makes it really applicable and accessible for our day-to-day interactions. So Jazz, I want to thank you for being here with us this morning, and I'm really excited to dive a little bit deeper into mindfulness and meditation because it's such a really interesting and important topic, especially at this time as we're often living in, there's a lot going on in our worlds.
Yeah. No, I agree. Thank you so very much for having me on today. I am really excited to be able to talk about this. It's a topic that I'm really passionate about, and I feel as though we have so many parameters that we put around things like meditation and mindfulness. And I know, I guess as we go into different sort of age groups, I'm just going to put that out there. We have a slightly different approach to these two topics, mindfulness and meditation. So in, some of the, I'm going to say, less experienced crowd, the younger crowd typically, it's one of those things where I hear I can't meditate because I'm too busy. I don't have the time. I don't know how, right? And it's something that can be kind of daunting at first, especially when there's so many pieces of literature and media that are out there saying, well, the whole idea of meditation is to create a blank space in your mind, no thoughts whatsoever. And then as we kind of move forward, as we progress, the time issue might not be as big a deal. You might have a little bit more, especially if you are maybe retired, maybe if maybe you're just working part-time, or if you've just reprioritized. You might have a little more time, but maybe the know-how is something that's a little more daunting. Or maybe it's just, I don't want to. I'd rather be moving. I don't want to sit still because that's what we've been told meditation is. So I love talking about meditation. I love practicing meditation. I love guiding meditation. And I love actually being able to engage in discussions about these topics. So I'm really hoping that there are questions that I can answer and definitely take us through a bit of a practice today as well.
Awesome. Awesome. So what topic should we start with? Meditation or mindfulness?
I'd say let's start with mindfulness.
Okay, so how about, I'd love everyone to participate and let us know where you're at, because this can be really helpful in terms of questions. And so I think most of you know that there's at the very bottom of your screen, if you're on a desktop, there's a little chat bubble. So you can post in the chat. So if you have, if you're familiar with mindfulness, if this is something that maybe you practice yourself or you know what this is, post a 1 in the comment section below. And if you have never really heard of it, this is a new topic and you're excited to learn about it, post a 2. And this will be great to see where everyone is at. All right, great. So we're getting some comments here. All right now we're split down the middle. So we got to have more people to participate. Okay, great. Some 2s, some 1s. Awesome.
Okay.
This is great. Thanks, everybody.
Sorry, just one second.
Here's our mindfulness music. Awesome. All right. So it looks like there's people who are familiar with mindfulness, and then there's others who are here to learn a little bit more. So this is going to be great.
Thank you. Oh, yeah. So this is really, really great. So for people who have heard about mindfulness, maybe practice mindfulness already, kudos. And I can almost guarantee for the people who are like, I'm not entirely sure, I can almost guarantee that you have practiced it at some point in some way, just maybe didn't recognize that's what it was. So mindfulness is something that I feel, or the word mindfulness is a word that's been thrown around in, I guess, like popular culture, social media. It's becoming a trend right now. It's something that, if you look at, I'm going to say like people like Oprah or Deepak Chopra, or like, people who are known for implementing a mindfulness practice, it's something that they have popularized. But what does it actually mean? Right? So I can be very mindful, drinking some water. I can be mindful having my coffee. I can be mindful in a conversation. So if we want to switch it out, instead of saying mindful necessarily, it is simply being present. So you're going to learn over the course of our next, little while together. I love to keep things very, very simple. And the simpler it is, the better it is for us, the easier it is to implement, and the more likely you are to actually continue in this practice. So simply put, a mindfulness practice means being present. So I have a question for you. When is the last time you did absolutely nothing? Literally nothing. No phone, no TV, no book, no coffee, no tea, no people. When's the last time you sat and you did absolutely nothing?
Oh my goodness. All right. Do we want people to post in the chat? Let us know.
Get a few people and see the kind of responses we get here.
Jazz, I can't even think of the last time I did nothing. Oh my goodness.
Rarely.
Yeah, rarely. Yeah, I'd have to say rarely for myself.
Isn't it insane how the easiest and the most difficult thing in the world to do is nothing?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because easy because you don't have to do anything, but hard because you also don't have to do anything. There's nothing to do. And this is where that mindfulness and the meditation ties in. So the mindfulness is about being present in that moment. Oftentimes as kids, we're told, or previously anyways, it was let your kids be bored because that's where creativity stems from. Right? So if there's nothing to do, if you're not constantly stimulating them, they will become creative and begin to pursue their passions or their interests. And that's just piquing curiosity naturally. As adults, we tend to lose that. As adults, we get caught up in responsibility. We get caught up in the next thing to do. We get caught up in keeping up with the Joneses. We get caught up in so many other things, right? So when we actually slow down and we take the time to do nothing, we take the time to evaluate where we are, we take the time to check in with where we are mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, whatever you want to insert adjective here. It really takes on a whole other level of presence within our life. So it is healthy to take some time every day, if possible, to take 5 minutes and do nothing, and to just sit there and observe what's going on around us. It is really, really helpful to, again, put the phones and everything away. This is something that we often hear, just being told for us to do, just put the phones away and actually engage in conversation, right? It's really helpful to us to, sit down and maybe enjoy a meal 100% without any distractions, right? Whether you do that, with someone or you do that alone, that's fine. But actually feeling, the food in your mouth, tasting the flavors, feeling, the consistency of the food, if that's what you're being mindful about. If you're having a conversation with someone, how often do we have a conversation with someone with the intent to respond as opposed to simply just listening to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So these are little things that make such a huge difference. It's also going to impact the rate of your day, like the speed of your day, and the way it's perceived as well. So if you start your day off on a slower note, you'll notice, or like a slower, more mindful note, you'll notice that you'll have time in your day for just about everything that you need to check off. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to challenge you to do this actually. So the next time, if you're not already doing this, maybe before you get out of bed, maybe sitting on the edge of your bed, close your eyes and don't fall back to sleep, but take 5 minutes and just focus on your breathing. Or 3 minutes. If 5 minutes seems like it's too long, take 3 minutes and just focus on your breathing in and out. Nothing else. That's it. And then notice how the rest of the day flows after that, as opposed to if you hit the ground running and you go. Or, it's that oh crap moment, you're hitting the snooze button, or you're getting up just as the, alarm goes off, and it's, oh no, I have to be here. I have to do this. I missed something, whatever. Just notice the difference in the pace of your day. That in itself is going to help, number one, lower your stress levels, lower your cortisol levels, starting the day off like that. But it's also going to allow for a more flow state. You're not, rushing against the brain. You're not fighting to get to where you need to be. You're just flowing with your day. And I got to say, that's a really, really great place to be.
Mm-hmm.
It feels a lot more effortless. Things that might normally phase you might not phase you as much. Your reaction time is going to be a little bit slower because you'll be responding as opposed to reacting. Okay, so these are little things with that mindfulness when you're checking in with your body and you're checking in with your breath.
I love that, Jazz. I love that. Something that I talk about quite often. And for those of you who've attended my webinars before, I talk about the importance of snacking on exercise. And I think there's something really powerful. So I love that you say, 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be very long, because I think sometimes we tend to get overwhelmed and think, okay, I need to exercise a full hour. And if it's not a full hour, then it doesn't count. Right? So we tend to say we got to go all in or nothing at all. And I love this this reminder and just presencing this as, 3 minutes of breathing is going to affect your day in a different way. 5 minutes is going to make a difference. So I think that's amazing. That's so powerful.
It's like I feel like we've been conditioned to have this mindset of I'm going to be either the best at this or I'm just not going to do it at all. Like you said, like all or nothing.
Yeah.
And I just want to reiterate, doesn't matter who you are, it's okay to be okay. You don't need to be experts at everything, right? It's okay to be okay. So if, the 3 minutes is all you can muster, that's fantastic. Better than nothing.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just wrote it down. I'm like taking notes. So I'm curious if anyone else wants to join me, and tomorrow morning to start your day with this, post in the chat, say I'm in. Post I'm in the chat if you want to join me, because I'm going to do this. I'm trying to have more of a flow to my day. And I know along with so many people, I've been having that pattern of just, okay, up and work, time to go, focus in, and let's step into this. I think this is something so practical we can do. Awesome. I see some people who are saying they're in. Yes.
Love it.
This is great.
That's fantastic.
This is a great tip. Awesome. So tell us, I'd love to hear a few more examples on like how we can be mindful. And I really like the idea of sitting and, enjoying a meal without watching TV. And I know there's so many people who, if you live with someone or even if you live alone, often a meal time we're spent in front of the TV, in front of Netflix, or we're doing something at the same time. I know many people who stand up while they eat. And I have heard benefits of sitting down, lighting a candle, making a really nice place setting for yourself and fully being mindful. So what are ways you can be mindful as you eat?
So ways to be mindful, as I had mentioned before, is being intentional with what you're doing. For those of you who enjoy cooking, for example, this is a really great one. If you enjoy cooking, being really intentional about the ingredients that you're using, about just really taking in the actual experience of cooking that meal, and then when you sit down to enjoy it, actually taking the time to enjoy, not just kind of and away we go. Um, it's anytime that you can be aware of what it is you're doing. Most of our life has been spent on autopilot. And it's not to say it's a bad thing. It's really not a bad thing at all, because it kind of takes out the things that we have to do on a regular basis. It's a mechanism that we have developed so that we're not making 40,000 decisions a day, right? However, when we start to become aware of the little things that we have put on autopilot, almost guaranteed we'll pick up something new. So for example, let's step away from that meal example. And, if for those of you who have pets, maybe you have a dog, or maybe you have a cat on a harness, I don't know, or you've got some other animal. But if you do have a dog and you're going out for a walk, how many times have you done that same route over and over and over again, depending on how long you've had your pet? Right? It's almost autopilot there. And this is where we're kind of getting into that almost meditative territory, where you've walked that path so many times, you've walked that route so many times, your pet knows this is where we're going to go. You sometimes let them lead, it's all fine and good. When's the last time you actually stopped to look at, and this is going to sound really silly, cracks in the sidewalk? When's the last time you actually stopped to look at, the flowers that were blooming maybe in the neighbor's garden? Not saying go over and smell them. I mean, you could, that might be a little creepy. I don't know. But when's the last time you actually took some time to notice the trees and, the wind blowing through the leaves? When's the last time you actually took some time and noticed each and every single car that passed by? Right? We tend to zone out a lot of stuff and just, we're focused on our own thoughts most of the time. And that, again, that's okay. But when we step out of that and we start to look at things and be fully present in what it is that we're doing, that is being mindful. It's the intention behind what we're doing. I'm going out for a 20-minute walk, and for that full 20 minutes, I'm going to be present. What is my pet doing? What are they drawn to? Oh, again, the wind and the leaves, the cars that have passed by. Oh, there's a for sale sign, or there's new neighbors moving in, or something. I don't know. As you're walking through this route that you've done so many times, what are the little things that you can pick up? What flowers seem like they might be wilting? Was it always like this? What's going on? Little things like that. When you start to pay attention, it might take you down a bit of a rabbit hole, just in terms of, again, thoughts and thought process, but it also makes you a little bit more aware of your surroundings and how you're responding to those surroundings instead of reacting.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, that's so helpful. It's interesting. I moved just about a month ago. And when I first moved, I was going and exploring every single street and going to different neighborhoods. And I'm totally in the autopilot phase right now, where I'm like, hey, this is my one route. I walk my dog and we do that. And I don't really pay as much attention. So it is, I love that. Just bringing attention to what's in your surroundings. Put your phone away, be present. So I love that.
Absolutely.
That's great. Now, before we move on, I see that there's a comment from Betty. Thanks for sharing, Betty. And she shares, when I was going through a rough time at work, I stayed sane by waking up and doing nothing for about 15 minutes. Made me feel like I had a choice, and it helped immensely. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. That's great. Very powerful. That's awesome. I love your examples. I really love these examples about being mindful, about really, just taking these ordinary tasks that we do and really thinking and looking and paying attention a little bit more instead of just letting life pass us by.
Exactly. It's about being fully, or as present as you possibly can. So from here, is it okay if we wander into sort of meditation territory?
Let's do it.
Okay, so being present, as I said, and having intention with what we're doing, mindfulness for sure. The meditation is awesome because it takes it to that next level. And by next level, again, I don't mean, superstar fireworks, oh my God, level up. It's basically taking that level of awareness and doing something with it, potentially, and having the choice to do something with it. So, meditation is, again, something that you can do walking around. Again, these parameters are very, very fluid. So, most often, and you can feel free to comment if you think something different or if you've noticed anything different. Um, when you think meditation, or if someone says the word meditation or so and so meditates, what's the first image that comes to mind? It's probably someone sitting cross-legged, hands out like this, eyes closed, and very, very zen. I'm just gonna put it out there and say that's not usually the case. That's usually not the case. Although it's fantastic to be able to sit and meditate, that's often what's prescribed and has been prescribed for so many generations, so many years. And ideally, if you can do that, that's awesome. But if you can't and you just don't want to, or you feel like, that's just not what I'm feeling right now, knowing that you can go for a walk and still be in a meditative state. You can take ordinary tasks like washing the dishes if you find that calming. Uh, I don't, but I mean, if you do, hey, um, things that you can do with, like, by being present, but still sort of turning your thoughts inwards. Okay, so you're still, you're aware of what it is you're doing, but your thoughts have turned inwards to, okay, your breath, how you're, again, your response versus a reaction. It's a completely different state of mind. And it might take some time to actually ease into that. And by some time, it can be a minute, or it can take 5 minutes to ease in. But once you do, it's letting go of expectation. Okay? It's letting go of expectation, and you have the opportunity. Meditation looks so different for so many people. It can be that opportunity to sort of do nothing, where you're just kind of observing what's going on and just taking it in. And this is especially true with our thoughts, okay? Because, like I said, we have 40 to 60,000 thoughts a day. And when we actually take the time to slow down and notice what actually pops into our head, we can acknowledge that. And we can decide whether it's something that's serving us or if it's something that we need to let go.
Hmm.
So, again, over time, there's so much conditioning that takes place, right? Social conditioning, cultural conditioning. There's a certain, oh, well, you're too old for that, or you're too young for that, or you shouldn't be doing whatever. And it's conditioning. Like, nobody is here, like, nobody should be telling us what we should and shouldn't be doing. But what are the limitations that we've put in our own minds? Why are we doing some things and not other things? What's stopping us? So, through a meditation practice, what's really cool is you get to take the time to acknowledge each and every thought that pops up. And basically, it might be a generation thing. I don't know. But Tinder, if anyone's, familiar with Tinder or like dating apps at this point, it's, you get the opportunity to swipe left or right. Like, do I want to deal with this or do I not want to deal with this? Right. And that's basically what meditation does, is gives us the choice to figure out if what we're thinking about is something that is true, or if it's something that we've constructed in our mind as a limitation. And I think the more we do this, the more we realize that we are truly limitless in our possibilities. The obstacles that we've put in place were truly put in place by us. So, abundance, typically, when we talk about, being in an abundant mindset, abundance is our natural state. Just when we're talking about energy, when we're talking about, the inflow and the outflow of breath, we're still alive. We have this exchange in energy happening, right? So, abundance is our natural state. Any of the limitations are ones that we've put up ourselves.
Hmm.
So, meditation can be truly, truly powerful in that sense. Um, and then from there, again, you get to decide what you want to do with it, if anything at all. It might just be a way to, calm the chaos that's in our mind, but it might also be a completely different way to view the world, to view our world.
Hmm. I really like that. Yeah, I haven't really heard that angle before of just being able to, be still, see what pops into your mind, then make that decision. Is this, something I want to acknowledge as true for me or not? Yeah, that's really great.
So more like some of the funny ones, I guess. I've when I talk about meditation, and oh, people have said, I've been told by my doctor that I should try meditation because it could definitely help, and especially anxiety, depression, like those are kind of the two really big ones that have come out over the course of last year. But it's really, I don't want to say funny, but it's interesting to me how many people have said, I can't meditate because I can't sit still. Like my brain is just constantly going. I don't know how to shut it off. For
Hmm.
that, I'm going to say your brain is your brain, and its function is to think. So you will have thoughts. That's kind of the point, right? But it's being aware of the thoughts that do come up, right? So you don't necessarily have to have, like, complete stillness and calm and, that's it, that's all. What we're doing when we meditate is bringing our body to a place where our mind feels safe enough to actually settle. Okay, so it's not about I need to calm my mind, it's I need to calm my body first. So, that being said, how's everyone feeling? Can I just get like a 1 for I'm amazing or a 2 for eh? Okay, awesome. Got some ones in there. That's great. I'm wondering, Meg, if it would be okay to do maybe a short 7-minute practice or so.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I think, talking about this is really great, and to be able to experience it now, will be really, I don't know, it'll give us the opportunity to really practice all of that, what you've shared. Yeah, that sounds
Fantastic.
good.
So, as I said, I love to keep things extremely simple. Okay, so, and we talked about it's not about calming just the mind, it's calming your body first. So, this meditation practice for today that we'll be doing is about calming the body. Okay, so, I invite you. There is no right or wrong way to do this. So, find a comfy spot. You can be sitting in a chair, you can be on the floor, you can be on your back, whatever feels best for you. Just make sure that you're in a position where you're supported. I encourage you to close your eyes, sit back, and for now, all we're going to do is notice our breath. Notice how we're breathing. No judgment, simply observe. So notice if when you take a breath in, does it stop in your upper chest, mid chest, or all the way down into your belly? What's your exhale like? Is it forceful? Is it slow? Awesome. On your next inhale, I encourage you to take a deep breath in. See if you can count to 5. Expand your belly, relax your shoulders. And as you exhale, see if you can soften the belly first, then your chest, and breathe out through your nose, counting to 7. Again, continue, breathe in, count to 5. And as you exhale, count to 7. So maintaining this breath for the remainder of your practice. Start to bring some awareness to the tips of your toes, the soles of your feet, to your ankles and your calves. As you exhale, allow those areas of your body to relax. Begin to soften your knees, the backs of your legs, top of your thighs, and allow your hips to be as heavy as possible. And taking that great deep breath in and exhale. Feel a heaviness to your hands as they rest. Relax your palms, your wrists, your forearms and elbows. And taking a great deep breath in and exhale. Allow your shoulders to fall away from your ears. Relax your back, your collarbones, and the muscles in your face. Allow your tongue to be heavy in your mouth. Eyelids are heavy. Once again, take a deep breath in and exhale. Whatever position you've chosen, allow yourself to feel completely rooted and connected to your seat. Feeling 100% supported. And completely relaxed. Notice any thoughts that come up. Observe those thoughts as you would clouds in the sky. On your next inhale, start to bring some awareness back into your fingers and toes. And whenever you're ready, take your time. You can allow your eyes to gently flutter open. Namaste.
Oh my goodness, I feel very peaceful. Very, very peaceful. I'm curious how those who participated, how you're feeling. I feel it's almost like my mind, it took a while. I had the garbage truck was going down the street, so I was being mindful and noticing the beep. um, but it's interesting. I just noticed kind of over time, my body just kind of settled in, sank a little bit deeper. It was almost like my mind was like, going from chaos to like, all right, it's okay to relax. That was lovely. That was lovely.
So thank you. And I'm glad you enjoyed that. So that just, again, if you've never quite tried something like that, excellent. I love it. Um, if you've never quite tried something like that, again, it's putting the emphasis on calming the body first. Your mind will follow, right? So if we're able to allow our bodies to settle, so I know a really big part of the issue that we have now, especially with the mental health crisis that we're facing, especially now, really big part of it is because we don't actually allow our body to settle. We're constantly feeling like we're on edge. There's usually a fear of missing out, like that FOMO. There's the next best thing. I should be doing this. I should be exercising more. I should be eating this and not this. I should be, spending more time with my kids. I should be. Those thoughts translate into our body. Again, it's all connected, right? And when our body's on edge, there's no way our mind can relax. So when we start to kind of shake it all out, when we start to bring awareness to specific parts of our body, that's that mindfulness element right there. You're focusing on, like I said, the tips of your toes, your fingertips, the belly, the chest, the muscles in your face. When you start to bring awareness to those specific areas of your body, you're most likely, I'm curious actually, to see if you noticed if you were holding on or tense in one area more so than in another. Like, for example, I know usually when I start, my glutes, like my butt is really, really tight. And when I start to think about it and I actually relax, it's like, oh, like I can actually sink into my seat or sink into, my mat if I'm practicing on my mat. And it's really interesting how much we actually hold on to emotion within our body. And that's what's causing tightness and tension and giving us that feeling of, I'm still on edge. I haven't completely settled. But as soon as you do, the rest is easy.
It's powerful because it is like, I like your approach. It is simple. And at the same time, it's quite profound. And from the comments I'm seeing, we're not really taking the time to do nothing. But when we do feel, wow, we really notice that difference. So this is very
just
smart.
to put that into perspective there, that was a 7-minute meditation right there. How many people actually felt like that was 7 minutes? Did it feel longer or shorter? Or
Oh,
was
yeah.
it on point? Your sense of time can get warped too. It's kind of cool.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, personally, I didn't even notice time at all. It didn't even seem
Yeah.
too long or too short. I was just so mindful, I guess you could say.
Oh,
All right. So, okay. Many people feel it felt shorter. Okay. Interesting.
pretty cool.
Yeah. That's really cool. Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing.
Um, Yeah, to relate mindfulness and meditation even to exercising, because this just hit me how quite often we can exercise and we can do, whether you're watching a video, whether you're participating in a virtual class or doing something on your own, sometimes we can just mentally be somewhere else. And I've seen this over the years with so many clients where we may be talking, but they're doing the movements, but they're not really being mindful about it. They're not thinking about what they're doing. So quite often I'll say, okay, focus on this part of your shoulder as we're doing this exercise. Notice how it feels. Look at in the mirror, look to see, are you engaging? Are you using that part of your arm? Because quite often we move and we're thinking about our to-do list or thinking about what's next. We're not actually benefiting ourselves, because if you're not thinking about your movements, it may be sloppy or you may not actually be using the muscles that you want. So I think this really translates well into exercising as well.
For sure. And you know what's really interesting? So I teach yoga as well. And what I loved about a yoga practice, or like, and you can relate to this to anything, but what I found specifically when I started with yoga, it's never about the reps. It's about how intentional you are with the movement. Right. And again, if you, like you said, you can kind of go through the movements, you can do, 12 reps, 15 reps, 100 reps, and you're just kind of going through the motion. But as soon as you actually start to pay attention to which muscles you're engaging, maybe you only have to do 5, and that's enough because you've actually engaged and worked what was meant to be worked, as opposed to just, going through the motions. So
Hmm.
oftentimes, again, this can be applied to just about everything out there, whether it's conversation, whether it's exercise, whether it's going for a walk, whether it's your relationships with whomever. you know Intention matters. And when we actually take the time to be intentional with our words, when we're intentional with our thoughts, when we're intentional with our movements, it often doesn't take us as long as we think it's going to take us. If you're fully present in a conversation, you can get your point across in 5 minutes instead of spending a half an hour going around in circles,
Mm-hmm.
right? And same thing, you can do a workout, you can do any sort of a movement practice and really feel, feel the intention behind it, feel it within your body, feel it within your mind, maybe 15, 20 minutes. It doesn't have to be an hour long, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, whatever it is, it usually shortens the amount of time that it takes to complete a task when we're actually focused on it, when we're actually being intentional with what we're doing. That's also another, again, that translates into lifestyle as well, right? When we start to become a little bit more mindful, when we start to become a little more present, we start to be a little bit more intentional with what we're doing, all of a sudden, we now have time, right? We're not trying to do a million one things all at once. We now have the time to actually pursue what matters.
I love that. I really love that. Yeah, this is so encouraging. I think this is, yeah, the tips and everything you've shared can is just so practical, and like I love your concepts of just making it, like doing it, trying it out. This is wonderful. Now we've got about 10 minutes left, and I'd love to answer some questions and have Jazz answer some questions that may have come up. So feel free to use the chat, or if you do prefer, you can unmute yourself and we can take questions that way too. But this is a chance to maybe ask something that didn't come up yet, or if maybe you've tried meditation or mindfulness and you're looking for a few extra little pointers or tips, then that would be great. So I guess from here, while we're waiting to see if there's any questions, what would you say the next steps are for someone who's like, you know what, this is something I think would be so beneficial for my life. Maybe this person is saying, you know what, I'm going to try the 3 minutes or 5 minutes of breathing tomorrow, but where do I go from here? What's the next step?
So that's a really great question. If you are someone who is pretty, self-sufficient and pretty good at holding yourself accountable and want to just try, setting that timer, maybe 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe increasing as you go. Fantastic. That would be your next step, is just doing it, right? Not waiting till tomorrow, just do it now. Like if you have the opportunity to sit for another few minutes after, the call today, fantastic. Set a time maybe for later on today. If you can, just do it. If you're someone who wants to ease into a meditation practice, I actually do offer like 6-week courses myself, where it's every Monday evening, from 7 to 7:30 in the evening. And so each week we cover a slightly different topic. We set a slightly different intention. It's framed in a slightly different way. And the meditations are typically guided with some silent meditation, where I keep an eye on the time so that you don't have to. And so that this current session is full, but the next session starts in July.
Okay.
July, yeah. And so that would be another option. There are tons of great resources, even on YouTube. There's tons of meditations out there. If you prefer something guided, there's tons of apps out there as well. You just got to find what works, right? You also have to, I always say, you have to experiment a little. Sometimes, you can't stand someone's voice. That's a big deal. Sometimes you just don't like the style. It doesn't resonate. Just keep at it. Find something that works for you. And if nothing works for you per se, then it's up to you to just take some time to be still in your day and go from there.
That's really great. That's very helpful. Yeah. Yeah. And I like your idea of, experimentation, like try it out, don't put pressure on yourself. Cause I think that's something else I see a lot of, which is like, oh, I feel guilty for not doing enough, or, oh, I should have started this years ago. This would have really benefited me, a year ago. So I like that, just get started, try it out, start slow, they see this as an experimentation, but also notice how it impacts you. See how
One
you
little
feel
thing that I
after.
will say before I let you go, I guess, would be try to frame things a little differently. Or language is really important, right? So instead of making it one other thing that you have to put on your to-do list to check off, instead of saying I have to do this, I get to do this. I get to take time for myself. I get to take 3 minutes and sit and do nothing. I get to be here now. And that I find makes a huge difference as well.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I share that with my clients as well. Yeah. Get rid of the shoulds, get rid of the pressure. Instead, empower yourself with, I choose to do this. I get to do this. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's great. All right. So we've got a question from Lynn. Thanks, Lynn. I have a lot of nerve pain, especially when stressed. Would meditation help manage that? Great question.
Yeah, that's a really great question. So, first and foremost, I'm just going to preface this by saying I'm not a doctor, and but what I have experienced with previous clients is I've had clients who've had fibromyalgia, for example, as a really big one, and they have reported that meditation has helped to actually alleviate some of the pressure, if it's especially if it's stress induced, to help alleviate and manage some of the symptoms with that. So again, I'm just going to say experimentation with meditation. It will it won't do any harm. So my suggestion would be to at least give it a go, because as I said, it starts with the body. We can calm the body, the mind will follow. And if that pain is induced by stress, then the calmer you're able to make your body, the less stress we have, the less likely it is to be inflamed, and therefore less pain.
That's great. That's really, really helpful. All right. Thanks for asking that question, Lynn. Yeah. Yeah. And I encourage you to try it out. All right. Great. All right. Any other questions before we wrap up? Yeah, this has been awesome. So Jazz, how can people connect with you?
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So I'm actually pretty active on social media, so particularly Instagram. So if you're on Instagram, feel free to look me up, give me a shout out at Yoga with Jazz. And my website is the same. It's yogawithjas.com. And I'm on Facebook as well, same Yoga with Jas. So there's a fair bit of information there. Uh, and feel free to reach out and connect at any point. I'm happy to answer any questions and to go from there.
Awesome. So I just shared your website right here in the comment section. So yeah, feel free to connect with Jas, see what she's up to. I think the 6-week meditation program sounds awesome for anyone who is wanting to dive a little bit deeper into this. And yeah, I think this is great. All right, and some comments here. Thanks so much to both you. This was great. Thanks, Meg and Jas. Have a great day. Awesome. Thanks everyone for being here and for trying something new. I know for many of you, this was the first time you were here trying something out, challenging yourself in a really calm way. So I want to thank Jas so much for joining me as our special guest this month. This has been just so insightful. I've taken lots of notes and I am 100% going to do the 3 to 5 minute breathing tomorrow morning.
You have to let me know how that goes.
I will let you know. Yeah. So everyone who said you're in, we can hold each other accountable. But yeah, thank you for sharing your knowledge, your passion. I can just see you're so passionate about this and this has been just so valuable. So thank you very, very much.
My pleasure. Thank you so very much for engaging and for letting me be a part of this.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, everybody, take care. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.